Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks for tuning into this homebrewing channel. In this video, I'm going to go over my do-it-yourself electric HERMS brewery and let you know if it was worth my time and effort to build this system. Let's get started. A few years ago, I built a HERMS brewery to give me more control over my brewing process. I wanted a system that could help me dial in my favorite beer recipes and make it easier for me to brew more often. You might be asking yourself, what is a HERMS brewery? HERMS stands for Heat Exchange Recirculating Mash System. It's a brewing technique that recirculates wort through a heat exchanger in the hot liquor tank in order to maintain mash temperatures. My system uses electric heating elements in both the boil kettle and the hot liquor tank. PID controllers are used to maintain precise temperatures throughout the brewing process. These controllers work by automatically turning on and off heating elements until target temperature is reached. I built two PID controllers to control my boil kettle and my hot liquor tank. I went the DIY route because I wanted to learn how to build these controllers and also keep the cost down on my system. If you're not interested in building something like this, there are a ton of options on the market when it comes to PID controllers. If you're not confident in your wiring skills, make sure to buy a pre-built option. This is one controller in homebrewing that can seriously hurt you if it's not done correctly. Here's a quick run through on how my HERMS system works. My HERMS brewery uses 3 kettles, 1 boil kettle, 1 mash tun, and 1 hot liquor tank. I fill my boil kettle and hot liquor tank with my target water volumes. I then use PID controllers to heat the strike water in the boil kettle and sparge water in my hot liquor tank to target temperatures. When I'm ready to mash in, I transfer my strike water from the boil kettle by using a pump. I only use 1 pump for my HERMS setup to keep the design simple and the costs down. Once I'm mashed in, I start to recirculate the mash through the heat exchanger found in my hot liquor tank. My hot liquor tank electrical heating element is also controlled by a PID so I can hit exact mash temperatures. Once the mash is complete, I transfer the wort into the boil kettle and start the boil. Let's take a look at 4 areas that I considered before building my do-it-yourself electric brewery that include cost, brew day length, fun factor, and if this system could actually brew better beer. First, let's look at the cost. An electric HERMS brewery is definitely on the more expensive side of homebrewing equipment, but since I went the DIY route, I can make it as expensive or inexpensive as I wanted. I felt like I landed somewhere in the middle. If I were to go out today and buy all the parts new for my brewery, it would cost around $2,600. Yes, I know, $2,600. That's a lot of money to spend on homebrewing equipment, and that doesn't even include the cost of the panel I installed in my garage to run this brewery. I'll make sure to list out all the parts in the description. I was able to reduce the cost of my brewery by buying used. For example, I bought the 3 kettles and boil coils for just under $400, and I found deals here and there as I was building this system that brought my grand total closer to the $1,500 range. Here are a few example HERMS kits from popular manufacturers you can buy ready to brew. These off-the-shelf systems are not an exact one-to-one comparison to my system. Some use 2 pumps, and there are other small nuances, but all use the HERMS brewing process. The DIY route does save quite a bit of money if done right. As much as I love brewing on my do-it-yourself system, I wouldn't mind brewing on any one of these systems. I think for brewers, especially beginners, a do-it-yourself system or an off-the-shelf system is a pricey entry point. I think this purchase and decision comes after somebody fully commits to the hobby. At least it did for me. Next, let's take a look at how long it takes me to brew on a HERMS system. Brewing on this system does take longer than a simple all-grain setup, mainly because there are more parts to prep and clean. I average 6 to 7 hour brew days with this system. I like to break the work into 2 days. 1 day to prep my grain, water, and equipment, and 1 day just to focus on brewing. Next, let's take a look at what it was like for me to build this system. Building a custom HERMS brewery is not for everyone, but I like a good build project. I like researching options, designing my own system, sourcing all the parts, figuring out how things work, and fine-tuning the system after it's built. There is a mixture of fabrication skills like drilling holes in kettles, running electrical lines, and figuring out how to wire control panels so the system is safe and easy to use. Next, let's take a look at the fun factor. I thought this system was going to feel like an automated brewing process with the electrical control panel, but I found it really keeps me busy while I'm brewing. There are hoses to swap, a pump to run, and temps to monitor. There was a steep learning curve when I first started using this system. After I worked out all the kinks, and trust me, there were a few, this system has been a blast to brew on. And finally, the question that probably matters the most, can it brew better beer? This is a tough question because I believe it really comes down to the brewer's experience and not the tools for brewing beer. But yes, this system has helped me brew better beer, mainly due to more precise temperature control features and improved efficiency I see with my mash process. I'm able to hit my target mash temperatures with ease after the system was finely tuned.
So, was building a DIY HERMS home brewery worth my time and effort? Yes, I have no regrets adding this system to my garage home brewery. It took a lot of time designing the system, sourcing all the parts, and putting it together, but I really like build projects like this. It's nice to be able to set target temperatures and focus on other things during the brew day, knowing that I'm going to hit my target mash temperatures. But most importantly, I'm brewing better beer more consistently these days. This is partly due with having equipment with precise temperature controls, but the biggest factor I believe is that I'm learning new brewing techniques and paying more attention to my brewing process. That's it for this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment below if you have any questions. See you next time. Cheers.